Truth wears no mask, seeks neither place nor applause, bows to no human shrine. She only asks a hearing. A very pleasant good day to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to University of Common Sense. My name is Tim Morrow, and our subject is Herbal Remedies. This show is about what herbal remedies can do for you, why they work, or even if they work, and actually some of the names of the herbs themselves. What the herb, by its name, you can tell what it is. For instance, if you wanted a diuretic, that's an herb that takes off water. But the bottom line to this is, I've been talking about herbal remedies now for probably 17 or 18 years. And it still boils down to the one thing. Whether you believe, disbelieve, stand neutral on it, doesn't matter. It's does it work? Remember, any animal that gets sick anywhere in the world never runs to a pharmacy. Well, take that back. He does. He runs to God's pharmacy because he knows the answer is in the earth from which he came. That's the same here. We are dirt made flesh, and the only reason why we have to use herbs is because of that very reason. We have to circulate the earth through us. The earth has to circulate. The tree, remember, can stand there with its tentacles into the earth and pick up all the nutrients that it needs. But we're mobile. Animals, man is mobile. So for the earth to work for him, he literally has to eat it. So it goes through his body. The purpose of herbs is, number one, is they fill the belly. But number two is that's our nutrition. We run off of the life that is in the herb. It is the life. The essence of the herb is the life. That means the herb itself, every ounce of it has to leave the body. Every ounce of that herb has to leave the body. What we extract is the life from it. Now, the life is taken out as it goes down through the small intestine. That's the reason why it's important to eat mostly raw, if not all raw. Notice the animals, none of them cook their food. All of them eat the food like God gave it to them. Why? Because it has its nutrition in it. All the nutrition is in it, and it wants to extract that nutrition. The reason why the small intestines are so long, like about 20 feet of small intestine, is because that's where the actual life is taken out of the food, and that life is put into the bloodstream. However, if you had no life in the food, of course, you're not going to extract any life from it. That's what this is about. When we talk about the medicinal herbs come from the word medicine, and medicine is found only in the herb. Man can say he makes all this stuff and it's medicine, but what he did was he actually went into the laboratory, found out what the herb has in it, its active ingredients, went in the laboratory, made it synthetically. It's synthetic. The problem with that is you're not. You're not synthetic. You are organic. And the only way that the herb will work is that it is organic, like you are. Any living thing, it means it's organic. Here, the point here is, Americans are so sick that they need the medicinal herb all the time. Now remember, the medicinal herb was made because if we get sick, it's literally nothing more than concentrated food. All of the medicinal herbs is nothing more than concentrated food. The same thing you'd find in cabbage or lettuce or celery. It is in the medicinal herb. It is just that it is in such great amounts. It is very It's very strong medicine. It's very strong food, because remember, our food was meant to be our medicine, and our medicine our food. And if you ate that way all the time, where you were eating living food all the time, you would never have the problems that we have today in America. Today we are very sick in America. I mean, this is a real time of crisis, because today we're almost where the Roman Empire was when it fell. As a nation, we are sterile, degenerate, worn out, devoid of vigor. We've been made soft by this rich, effortless living. And when you go into effortless living, you don't do any kind of work. We're all desk jockeys today. So number one is we don't breathe deep. Number two is we work in buildings that make us sick. Number three, we don't exercise. Number four is we eat the worst food in the world. Food can't move. So we are very, very sick. Today, teenagers weigh in excess of 300 pounds going to school are now on sugar diabetes medicine. It means that we got a generation that's going to wear out early in life, because insulin is very poison to the system. Even medicine tells you that insulin makes you, all the organs of the body, 3 times older than the body is. Yet and still, there's all kinds of herbs out there that is natural insulin. Watermelon is natural insulin. So is zucchini and green beans, especially if eaten raw. So is cucumber. Those are natural insulin. But what we're doing, we're killing animals to get artificial insulin. Once they mix all of the drugs with it, it becomes poison and ends up coming out of the feet, because it is so poisoned. The body is trying desperately, very desperately, to get rid of it. So I chose today to choose Stan Malmstrom. Stan Malmstrom is a great herbalist out of Utah, and he's written a book called Own Your Own Body. So I don't want to be your doctor. I want to teach you how to be your own doctor. If you give a man a fish, you'll only feed him for a day, but if you teach him to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. That's what I want to do. I want to teach you to fish so that you can learn how to take care of yourself. I like the things that he's written in this book because they are for real. They mean exactly what they say, and there's no lying in it. There's no reason to lie. He's not selling anything. He's just telling you what the herb is made of. For instance, an alternative herb. An alternative herb, and this is the way he is, herbs used to modify nutrition in order to overcome morbid processes. That means it's trying its best to get rid of the cheese. The cheese stick wherever the body allow it to stay. Well, this herb, which is an alternative, it works on trying to melt the cheese so that the cheese can come out, because the cheese is going to make you sick. The cheese produces severe mucus, and the alternative is to turn it around and make it come out of the body. Anodynes, that's another name for herbs. Anodynes are herbs used to ease pain. Almost all, almost all herbs that are nervines also helps to get rid of pain, because we feel pain through the nervous system only. If it doesn't affect the nervous system, you can't feel it. So it only affects the nervous system. In fact, there are more nervines than there are any other herb on earth. Why? Because everything is felt through the nervous system. It doesn't happen through the nervous system, you cannot feel it. So it's very important to soothe the nervous system. That's what anodynes are called. And there's all kinds of them. Most of us know something about catnip or valerian, because valerian root is the herb that they use to take out the main ingredient and put it into drugs, and then they call it a a nervine, a nervine that medicine is made. Medicine makes no nervines nor any other herb. They make drugs. You want to call it medicine? My hat's off to you. It is a drug, and a drug drugs you. That's all it can do. You can't change the nature of the beast. It is what it is. And that's the way it should be. If that was the case, you could take lead and turn it into gold. That's not going to happen. But like catnip, valerian root, that's what they make Valium out of. They just take the main ingredient, add all the drugs to it, and then they call it Valium. But it comes from the word valerian root. Let me tell you something. I fly helicopters, and I will take 10 valerian roots and go fly in a helicopter. I wouldn't get away with taking 2 Valiums because I'd be on my last helicopter ride. You can't compare the two of them. One of them have no side effects. The other one almost have all side effects. So that's what an anodyne is. It's herb that helps to get rid of pain. Antiseptics. Antiseptics are herbs used to destroy or inhibit harmful bacteria. An antiseptic is supposed to get rid of the waste. Now remember, when we're dealing with bacteria, all we're dealing with is mucus. The side effect of eating processed food is mucus. But mucus is very acid. Acid burns. No matter where it comes out of you, acid burns. If it comes out as dandruff or acne or eczema, psoriasis, or athletes with a yeast infection, strep throat, they all burn because it's the waste coming out of the body. It is all exactly the same thing. Not pretty near the same. It's exactly the same thing. It's just the waste coming out of a different place in the body. When they name all the different names, then they can sell you a remedy. But it is the same waste coming out of the same body. And antiseptics will clear it away. It will get rid of the bacteria. It will not bury it so that at another day and time it can come back and worsen the condition. That's the reason why the word that you hear coming from doctors is that it is in remission. Look out. Because when they're talking about in remission, it has been buried and it is smoldering away. And one day it's going to explode. What you want to do is you want to get rid of it. That's what antiseptics does. It gets rid of the mucus that causes the inflammation, and it gets rid of it. That's what you want to do, is you want to get rid of it, not bury it, because once you bury it, it will be back again and again and again. Antispasmodics, herbs used to prevent or allay spasms or cramps. Things like valerian root is very good for getting rid of cramps because it has a lot of herbs in it that relaxes the muscle. That's what you want to do, is you want to relax the muscle. One of the things that happens when we have cramps is that there's not a good circulation. There's not a good circulation going on in that area. And the cramping is the body showing you that it needs herbs that will open up bloodways, will relax the muscles. So that's what an antispasmodic is. Aromatic herbs, herbs which emit a fragrant smell and produces a pungent taste, used chiefly to make other medicines more palatable. They are herbs that have a good odor to them. They smell good. And it's like you say, they use it in herbs that don't taste so good. And one of the reasons why drugs took over so well in this country was because they promised that you wouldn't have to taste it. Herbs taste awful. Most of them taste awful. But the little pill that was given by the doctor was going to be the panacea. It was going to take care of everything. Herbs were outdated. You didn't need them. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. As long as we're on this planet, there's never going to come a day when the herb is not needed. When the herb is not needed, neither will the sunshine, the air, nor the water. None of them will be needed either, because the herb captures the air, the sunshine, and the water. And when you eat it, that's released inside of you. That's the healing power, the minerals from the sun and from the earth, all the nutrition that's in the earth. That's how the herbs work. That's why they work, is because we're literally catching the elements. And now when you eat it, the element is released into your body and you get well. The wonderful thing about herbs is when you get well with herbs, you look like you got well with herbs. I started following the dog 25 years ago, and I liked his rate of getting well. He'd go out and he'd eat the grass. No matter how sick he was, he'd throw up. And by golly, in hours, he'd be well, out doing what he needs to do. Well, I started following him. I liked that. And I liked the fact that he didn't have to go around looking for a second grass. You know, if this one don't work, I'll try another one. No, the one that he ate worked. He went and regurgitated, and by golly, he was good right away. So I've been following the dog ever since. I stopped following the dog. And I'd like to think that I'm at least as intelligent as a dog. So when something happens to me, realize that the dog knows and understands that the blueprint to his body is in the earth that he came from. Well, I'm at least that intelligent. So I go to the earth when I get sick. It's literally the only place you can get well from. Oh, you can have surgery and all those things. But one of the wonderful things about the body is that the body will bring a growth to a head, and the doctor will call it a tumor or whatever he may call it. But the body was intelligent enough to bring it there. That meant it took it and put it into a capsule to keep it from getting into your body and spreading out and killing you. Well, if it was smart enough, if the body's smart enough to bring it and put it in that capsule, surely it must be smart enough to take it away. What the body's looking for from you is the raw material to make it strong enough to get rid of this waste. The reason why I didn't get rid of that waste in the first place was because all your channels of elimination were plugged up. He couldn't get it out. So it says my only alternative is put it into a sack so it doesn't get into the bloodstream and kill you. Well, it's waiting for you to do something. It doesn't know that we don't know the first thing about our bodies. All it wants from you is the raw material. These are the herbs that are the raw material. The carminative herbs which help expel gas from the stomach, intestine, and bowel. Cascara sagrada is one of those. It helps to get rid of the waste. Literally, the number one thing that we suffer from is the body's waste, the colon, the bowel. If you don't take care of that, you can't get well. And so that's what a carminative is. It is to get rid of that waste. A cathartic, herbs which cause evacuation of the bowel. Same kind of thing. It's getting rid of the poison. We suffer only from the waste that we put inside of us. That's all we suffer from in our lifetime. I don't care whether they call it the common cold or AIDS. These are the herbs that will help you to get rid of it. Demulcient herbs. Herbs used to relieve internal inflammation, provide a protective coating, and allay irritations of the membrane. We have in us, in the colon, in the lungs, in the uterus, we have this nice soft lining. There's these soft linings are not supposed to be, they're supposed to be nice and soft and flexible. This is the herb, that demulcient herbs are the ones that brings that nice soft tissue back. Isn't that amazing that it can do that? It brings that nice, no matter that we worn it off, the emulsifiers make it so that you can replace it. The lungs, the colon, and for females, the uterus. The mulleins are great herbs. Uh, Diuretics, herbs that take off water. Nice thing about water, when the medical field started making diuretics, they went out and they found out what the diuretics had. Things like sage, hawthorn berry, dandelion. I mean, this is just a few of the words that come right off the top of my head. These are herbs that are diuretics, and they help you to get rid of water. Water builds up. But let me tell you about the body, and the body's intelligent. If the body holds water, it's holding it for a reason. It doesn't just decide, I'm going to hold water today. No, it's doing it for a reason. That means there's some poison wherever this water is being held. What did the doctors call that? No, I forgot what they call it. But water retention is holding water. And the body is holding it for a reason. There's some poison there. That's what it's holding it for. It can't get rid of the bowel, the colon. It can't get rid of the colon, the lungs, the kidneys, the skin, or the vaginal tract. Then wherever that poison lies, the body will send water out there to dilute that poison. Now, you don't want to get rid of the water. You want to get rid of why the body's holding the water. If you'll get rid of the poison, when you get rid of the poison, then that is what is actually what you want to do, is to get rid of the poison. Not, you don't want to get rid of the water. The water is actually your friend. The doctors call it edema. And edema will help in the lower part of the body. It'll help a lot in the lower part of the body. Why? Because gravity pulls downward, and much of the poison will lay in the feet. And when it lays in the feet, the body sends water down there to get rid of it. But water will show up anywhere. The diuretic helps to take off that water. And there are plenty of diuretics on earth also. Emetics, that's remedies that induce vomiting. And there is a time when you might very well want to take care of that very situation. Common sense. We are here to teach you the simple remedies that will make things work. Remember, growing old does not make us sick. It's growing sick that makes us old. For University of Common Sense, this is Tim Morrow. And you'll see us next time